The most sustainable way to love fashion isn't to stop shopping. It's to simply change the way you shop. So, change the way you shop with The RealReal. The RealReal is the world's largest, most trusted source for authenticated luxury resale. Every item kept in motion extends the life cycle of luxury and keeps it out of landfills. So, whether you shop secondhand on therealreal.com or exclusively purchase pieces you can sell back into rotation later, pass it on when you're done by selling it with The RealReal. You'll get money to shop Loewe, Celine, Prada, and more new-to-you finds. Then, repeat the cycle, guilt-free. Sell to shop, shop to sell with The RealReal. And only for the month of April, earn $100 extra when you sell with The RealReal. Go to therealreal.com to get started and earn $100 extra this Earth Month at therealreal.com. Terms apply.
If you work in university maintenance, Granger considers you an MVP because your playbook ensures your arena is always ready for tip-off. And Granger is your trusted partner, offering the products you need all in one place, from HVAC and plumbing supplies to lighting and more. And all delivered with plenty of time left on the clock, so your team always gets the win. Call 1-800-GRANGER, visit Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. Thank you for downloading. And thank you for subscribing to the latest edition of the 12 Kyle podcast. I am your boy, 12 Kyle. And check this out. On this episode, what I want to talk about is how you look. More importantly, dressing to impress. As many of you know, I'm a father of four. I have three sons. Our oldest son is 25 at the time of this recording. Middle son is 22. And our youngest son is 18. And our daughter is 13. And one of the things that I always talk to my kids about is, you know, how you look. And I always talk about looking presentable. And I say these things as far as like being cognizant of it is because it's something that I'm very cognizant of as well. I'm very cognizant of how I look and how I dress, particularly when I leave my home. Now, I work from home, so I don't have to get dressed up for work. But when I did go into an office, more often than not, even if the dress was casual, I would have on like a sport coat, some slacks. You know, I would look very sharp. Sometimes I would be overdressed for the job. Because I just, well, at that particular time, I didn't have a lot of clothes, but no, I didn't have a lot of casual clothes. Like I had a lot of suits. So I would just wear a suit, you know, even though it didn't require me to wear a suit. But I think the thing that I always try to convey to my kids is that, you know, how you look says a lot about yourself, and how you dress says a lot about yourself. And we recently had a scenario to play out, and I want to share it with you guys. Again, our youngest son is 18. He just graduated from high school. His name is Brandon. Now, Brandon, maybe about a month or so ago, he wanted to go to church with his girlfriend. And it's cool. They don't go to the church that we go to. So he asked, he's like, hey, is it okay if I go to church with my girlfriend? I said, fine. And at this particular church, you know, the young people, they don't wear suits. Like they don't get dressed up like how we did back in the day. And so they pretty much dress pretty casual. Young people can wear shorts, they can wear jeans, they can wear whatever. It's almost like the old saying, come as you are, right? And so that's cool. And a lot of churches have adopted that policy. And I've never been one who's really been big on, you know, what you wear to church, because now, although I grew up in a church where we had to get, you know, we were custom made from head to toe every Sunday, I didn't necessarily believe in all of that, because my thing is, you know, you should be accepted from, you know, God and the people in the church based on whatever you decided to wear. So if you wanted to wear a dress shoe on your right foot and a Air Jordan on your left foot, I mean, who's to say that you're wrong? The point is that you're going to worship in the church, and you're going to, you know, get something from the sermon and so forth and so on. And so this particular day, So I told him it was okay. We weren't going to church that day, so it was cool. I felt it was cool that, he was going, and, he was wanted to, obviously spend some time with his girlfriend, but also get something out of going to church. So it was cool. So right before he leaves to go, he walks in my room and he gets something out of my bathroom, and he walks, and as he's walking out, I said, "Hey, where you going?" Because I was in the bed watching TV. I said, "Hey, where you going?" And he said, "Well, I'm getting ready to leave." And he's like, "My girlfriend will be here in about 5 minutes." And I said, "Is that what you're wearing?" And he was like, he looked down at himself and he said, "Yeah." And I said, "You can't wear that." And he was like, "Why?" I said, "Because you look like you're about to go play basketball." I mean, he had on some sneakers, jogging pants, and a wrinkled t-shirt. He literally looked like he was about to go play ball. And I'm like, "No, you can't wear that." He's like, "But she'll be here in like 5 minutes." I was like, "It doesn't matter." I said, "I don't care if she'll be here in 2 minutes. I don't care if she's at the door. She will wait for you to change clothes, because you're not leaving my house looking like this." And the thing that I try to impress upon him is that, given the fact that her father, who is a pastor in this particular church, how these kids dress are a reflection of us. So if you go out of my house looking like Bingo Long and the All-Stars, then people will see you in the streets and assume that 12 Kyle is raising kids who don't know what to wear. And again, I wasn't asking him to put on a 5-piece suit, but you can't go to someone else's church. You can't go to my church looking like, listen, you could go to my church looking like that, because it's kind of come as you are. But even in that, you have to be presentable. And so I chastised him right then and there on the spot. And I was just like, "No, you're not wearing this." And he was upset because he didn't feel like he had to quote unquote dress up. But again, in my mind, I'm thinking like, okay, what if, just if, her dad, preaches, and then after church, he's going to introduce some people in the church to our son, and they see him dressed like he was at the Rucker Park. Nah, that ain't happening. Not on my watch. And so he changed clothes, and then when he came back, I had a talk with him. And I just wanted to explain to him, like, one of the things that I was told as a child, as a young man, my late Uncle Sonny used to say this all the time: when we step in the room, in steps the race. Meaning that people, be it right or wrong, will judge you based on how you look. I heard once, and I think it's very true. You can look at someone, and once you hear them speak, you can tell their background. You can tell a little bit about their social economic position, and any and everything in between. Meaning you can tell how much money they have or how much money they don't have. You can tell their level of education based on what they're wearing and what they are speaking out of their mouths. Now, full disclosure, I'm not a fan. I'm a fan of expressing yourself through your dress, but there has to be some type of limit. I understand that as our bodies grow, some clothing gets a little tighter than others, particularly on young ladies and women in particular. I get that part of it, right? And I'm not body shaming anyone. That being said, if you're going to church and that skirt is tight and it's hugging your hips and hugging your butt, it's going to do that in church as well. And every man is going to be looking, including the man in the pulpit, because at the end of the day, he's a man too. He's going to look at an ass too. I don't put the man in the pulpit on any bigger pedestal than anyone else, because he's, in essence, a sinner just like us. And how do we sin? The Bible says you sin in 3 ways: thoughts, words, and deeds. He may not sin in thoughts and words. He may not sin in words and deeds, but he will sin in thoughts, because he's going to see that big ass and he's going to imagine something. But I wanted to have that conversation with him and just explain to him. And I started off by telling him, like, look, I was once your age. And listen, when I was 18 years old, I was hip hop to the 10th power. I would walk out the house and not tie my sneakers because that was a level of expression. We had just come through the era of shell-toe Adidas and fat shoelaces. I mean, that was a level of expression. I was telling my son the other day about how, Run DMC inspired us to wear, shell-toe Adidas. And sometimes you could wear shell-toe Adidas and no shoestrings at all. And you would wear like double socks.
You know what I realized? The hardest part about building a website isn't making it look good. It's getting what's in my head onto the page. But I've been playing with the new Wix Harmony editor and I'm impressed. You can literally just tell it what you want, or if you're picky like me, jump in and move things around yourself. The nice part is you can hop between AI and hands-on editing, so you end up with a site that actually looks the way you pictured it. Try it out for free at wix.com/harmony.
Insurance isn't one size fits all. That's why drivers have enjoyed Progressive's Name Your Price tool for years now. With the Name Your Price tool, you tell them what you want to pay, and they'll show you options that fit your budget. So whether you're picking out your first policy or just looking for something that works better for you and your family, they make it easy to see your options. Visit Progressive.com. Find a rate that works for you with the Name Your Price tool. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
To keep the shoe from coming off. I mean, like, that didn't make any sense then, but that's just what we did. It was a level of expression. It was hip hop. And, if you had Timberlands, you had them unlaced. And, if you had sweatpants on, you pulled up one leg like LL. I was doing that before LL, but that's another story for another day. But, we had fashion things. We had the, thing where you would have the suspenders and you take one suspender off and have it draped across your shoulder, or you have it dragging on the ground. I mean, like, there were a whole bunch of ways that we expressed ourselves, as far as our dress is concerned. But, I don't think it was, even looking back on it now, some of it was bad, but it wasn't this bad. I mean, like, you can go places and you don't have to go far to go places, and you will see young men walking around with their pants falling off their ass, and you can see their drawers. And I came up in an era where that wasn't cool. I mean, like, everybody knows, or at least you should know, why you see men sagging and where that came from. I'm not going to give you a history lesson. Look it up. You know where it came from. That being said, I get and understand why some would do that, and it's in their environment or what have you. But at the same time, look the part. You're not going to a job looking like that. You definitely shouldn't go to church looking like that. Now, if you're walking around your house and your neighborhood, if that's what you want to do, that's cool, I guess. As a 52-year-old man, I'm never going to co-sign on that. I'm just not. And even when I was a 32-year-old man or a 22-year-old man, I did a lot of things, but I wasn't walking around with my pants falling off my ass. Were my shoes untied or my sneakers untied? Yes. Were my Jordans untied at the top? Yes. But no. I mean, and the idea of looking bummy has become, fashionable. There's this hairstyle that all the young kids wear, where the hair is, really bushy and puffy and what we used to call peasy or nappy. And some of these kids look like they literally just rolled out of bed and didn't do anything to their hair. And that's a look. And it's a very popularized look. I'm aware of it. I'm not a fan of it, but I mean, it is what it is. But it doesn't bother me that much. But you look silly. I tell my son all the time, hey, do something with your hair. Put moisturize it or something. Make it curl up. Do something. Don't make it shouldn't look dry. It's almost like looking like a dry Jerry curl. You didn't want to have a dry Jerry curl in 85. But I said all that to say this, we should look a certain way, particularly young black men. I look back and when I see pictures of my grandfather Eddie, when I see pictures of it, because he passed away, I was born in 72, he passed away in 73. So I never saw him, at least, he saw me, but I don't remember what he looks like. All I've seen is pictures. And this guy was sharp. Even when he didn't have any money, he was sharp. He always had a hat on. He had suits. He had the zoot suits. He was flying every picture. And we were fly back in the 60s and the 70s. And we were fly in the 50s because we didn't have a choice. Like, even if you didn't have money, if you didn't have anything to show for it, you looked good. You looked presentable. You looked like you were somebody. I'm very into, the clothes and stuff that I wear, because as you see, if you watch the podcast on YouTube, thank you for watching. Everything that I wear, if I wear a shirt, it has some type of message on it, or it represents something. Today's shirt is the South Carolina State University Bulldog, which is where I went to college and played football. But that represents me. And so even if I wore this shirt out in the public, someone's going to see this shirt and say, hey, South Carolina State. And then that's going to spark a conversation. It happens every single time. I don't do it necessarily to start conversations, but it just happens. But someone will see me in a shirt that says South Carolina State and assume he's an alum, because you know what? I look like an alum. I don't look like somebody who is a bum off the streets. So my message to my son was, look the part, and I'm glad that I told him to, go get some more clothes, because the thing was, after they had church service, his girlfriend's parents invited him to, lunch or whatever, brunch after service. And while he may not have felt the way, looking kind of crazy like he was going to play basketball, I would have felt bad if I knew that my child went somewhere looking bummy. And I've never wanted them to look bummy, because listen, there's never a moment that I step outside of these doors. I could look real bummy in this house, but I'm never going to step outside these doors and look bummy. I don't care if I'm going to Publix, where shopping is a pleasure. I'm never going to look bummy. I'm always going to have I could put on jogging pants, sneakers. My sneakers are going to be fly. My jogging pants are going to be fly. My jacket, my hoodie, whatever I have on, it's going to be fly. I'm never going to step out the house half stepping. And it's not because I'm trying to meet someone, because I'm married. I have the person that I want. But I always want to represent, because I know that when I step outside the house, I still represent my parents. My parents are in their 70s, but I still represent them. I represent my grandparents, because who knows? There may be somebody walking this earth that still remembers my grandparents. But I represent those. I represent my great-grandparents. My great-grandparents are long gone. My great-grandparents were sharecroppers, and their parents were slaves. I represent those people. I'm of that lineage of people. I cannot step out of the house and not look clean. Now, I may have $5 to my name, but I'm going to look like I'm worth $1 million. Always. And I think you should too. I think, while clothes are important, you make the clothes, but you can't let the clothes be a distraction. And what you wear does say a lot about you. Be careful about the message that you send, because a lot of times you're going to send a message that you don't even know is being sent. And I know we get into this a lot, particularly with women, who may wear clothes that are tight or scantily clad. I will never tell a woman what to wear. I will say this much. What a woman wears will, like a man, speak for her or what she thinks about herself. And that's the way that it's interpreted. I didn't make that rule. That's just what it is. But you want to make sure that it's sending off a good message. We all want to, or we all should, dress to impress, because regardless of what you think, people are always watching. Make sure that you give them something to look for about you, because what you're wearing speaks for you when you never open your mouth. Again, as my Uncle Sonny said, when you walk in a room, in steps the race. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for me. I am your boy 12 Kyle. I want to thank you all for tuning in as you do each and every week. This has been another edition of the 12 Kyle podcast. If you haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe to the podcast. We drop new episodes every Thursday and every Sunday at midnight. If you're on YouTube, thank you for watching. Make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're on social media across the board, 12 Kyle Podcast. And if you want to contribute financially, hit us up, Cash App, $TWELVEKYLE. We also have merch. Look in the description box. There's a link that says merch. Click that link and you can buy 12 Kyle Podcast t-shirts, hoodies, as well as coffee mugs. We got it for the low. Oh, and we have a new baby. We have a new baby. It is called the Rap Soul Podcast. It is a music podcast. Listen, it's the best music podcast that you've never heard. It's a music podcast where we have discussions about music and artists from the 80s, the 90s, and the 2000s when it comes to hip hop, rap, soul, and R&B music. Again, it's the best music podcast that you've never heard, so check it out. Ladies and gentlemen, again, that's going to do it for me. I am your boy, 12 Kyle. I'll catch you guys next time. 5,000. Chill.
Working across teams is tough, but Asana helps you handle it. That's because Asana is where humans and AI coordinate work together. AI can spot roadblocks and assign work in a snap, so everything and everyone stays on track. That's how work gets handled. That's Asana. Visit us at asana.com. That's ASANA.com.
When you manage procurement for multiple facilities, every order matters. But when it's for a hospital system, they matter even more. Grainger gets it and knows there's no time for managing multiple suppliers and no room for shipping delays. That's why Grainger offers millions of products in fast, dependable delivery, so you can keep your facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.